Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Q&A that never ends. And we are now on part 16, and I seriously doubt this will be the last part. So I didn't even get the newest questions into this list because I'm confident I'm not going to get to the end. So I guess we're going to just hop right into it. If you got more questions, add them below and I'll put them up, tack them on to the end, and we'll see how long we can do this until either there's no more questions or I die. So let's see. Question one is from Tizawoot is back. What hack and slash games do you like? Is his question. I don't play a lot of hack and slash games, not lately anyway. There are a lot of good ones that are older, but recent ones I haven't played that many. Like the latest I played the latest Dynasty Warriors Empires, whatever one it was. It was on PSN for me though. And I liked it. I played it for a while, but I never get through those games. They're too repetitive. So like after a while, you get tired of them. But I've also recently playing a game called Yoru no Nai Kuni, which is like the country without. Oh wait, maybe that's not the name of the, because that doesn't make sense. Um, I'm gonna look that up right now, because the that doesn't make sense. Like I'm when I said it, I know that that's it. Um, Yoru no Naikuni is okay. I looked it up. The English name is Knights of Azure. It's a Gust game. But this game, Yoru no Naikuni or Knights of Azure, is a kind of a hack and slash where you're like, you have kind of demon powers, hunter powers to hunt demons. Your two characters are hunters. You're on this island trying to hunt down demons, monsters in the night. It's a pretty cool game. It's um, like if Castlevania was a hack and slash with cute girls instead of Belmonts. That's that's kind of how I'd explain it. But I'm obviously like a 3D Castlevania, not a 2D Castlevania. It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good game though. I played that recently. That's like the most recent one. But I like the standard stuff. I like your Devil May Cry's. Um, I liked all the Devil May Cry's. I like two, which is easily the worst. It's still not a bad game. Um, the first game I bought a PlayStation 2 for Devil May Cry. If that like gives you any indication of if I like hack and slash games, but I don't generally don't buy them that often anymore, just because not a lot of interesting ones come out. Um, there's some that I'm always willing to get ones that are interesting though. So like Knights of Azure ended up being pretty fun. I mean, I didn't buy that though. Again, that was a PSN buy, PSN PS Plus, I guess. Um, and it's good. I like that game. So I like some of your older stuff too. Your like 99 Nights stuff like that. I enjoy those kinds of games. What was that one on the PS3 that was like maybe a launch title with the chick and the dude who did Gollum in it. Fuck. I can't remember. You guys know what it is. It's just not on I just can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. Shit with that. But you know what it is. But that game was really fun too. Um, yeah, I play a lot of. I guess I kind of play a lot of hack and slash games, but not all of them. You know, my it's not really hack and slash because there's no weapons, but I really liked the Fist of the North Star game, the like Hokuto Muso, which is like whatever Fist of the North Star Warriors is in English. I don't know. I know it's always something Warriors, um, but that game was really good. For me, it was good. I know a lot of people hated it, but I really liked it. I didn't play the updated version, the Ken's Rage version. I didn't play that. The part two, I guess. Maybe it was two. I don't know. But I didn't play that one. I just played the first one, and I played it for like with every character through every story. Like I was really, really into it. But That's the kind of stuff I like. The second question is kind of connected to this. Is like, what do you think of Bayonetta? I like Bayonetta, but like, I never got Bayonetta 2. Like, I probably should have. Like just on the basis that I don't have anything to play on my Wii U anymore, and no new games are going to come out for it. So probably actually eventually I'll get Bayonetta 2. It's not like it's going to go up in price. Um, the I played Bayonetta 1 on the PS3, and my experience with it wasn't good because the PS3 version was sucky. Um, so it kind of it killed a little bit of my excitement for the Bayonetta 2, and I still haven't like gone back to that game because I was playing on the. I guess it's patched now, but like it was. If anyone played Bayonetta the original on PS3 before like they patched it up, it was a mess. It was not good. Um, but yeah. So I don't know. I guess I like Bayonetta in theory, but in practice I haven't played two yet, so I don't really know. Okay, that's done. Next we've got Botland. He's back. Back. I don't know. I don't know if he's asked any questions, but he asked, "What is your favorite Fallout game and why?" I answered that already. Two. I think it's in another part that I answered that though. I don't remember which part, but I totally answered it. But the short answer, Fallout 2. Um, Eric Joseph asks, I always wondered why you angle your head that way all the time. Um, it's not. It's just due to the way I have the camera placed. It's not like. I mean, in this case, I have a computer like over here, so I have to look at the questions that way. So like when I'm looking at the questions, my head is always to the side. But like when I don't have a computer, when I don't have notes, it's just the camera is like rested on a box against the wall, and I'm like sitting backwards on a couch right now, so it's kind of like weird to sit. So like I'm just kind of leaning to the side. That's basically the only. I mean, I could not move my head that way and just like sit straight, but it's actually less comfortable, and then like I'd really be having to turn to look at the video. um it's always been that way though. It's always just like a matter of like play. I mean, I'm taking these with my phone. It's not like I'm doing anything special. There's some older videos where I'm not at the same angle because I'm not taking it with a phone. I'm like I actually have a tripod with a camera. But those are the older ones. Now I'm too lazy to set that stuff up, so you just get like this weird angled thing going on. But it's not. I don't care. I think just people expect it now. So it's just a character of my videos. They're all at a weird angle. Like some people have their angles. Like in old TV shows where the villains are always like kind of at a weird cocked angle. Like this is for me. It's not for villainy. It's just for this is the laziness angle. I guess it's like a little to the left side or whatever. Let's see. Next we got. I think I just scrolled past some questions there. That's no good. Um, Say Akon asks, how often do you use guides walkthroughs for games, and in what situations do you use them? Um, okay. Generally, for games that I'm really, really into, like if it's a series, like for example, Fallout, when Fallout 4 came out, I played through my entire first playthrough without any type of like guides or anything like that. Same goes for like a Dark Souls game, a Yakuza game, any of the games that like are my kind of favorite games. I never use a walkthrough because it kind of spoils things and it makes me have to like. I mean, it inevitably means that I have to play them again, and I think that's a good thing for me because like I'm gonna play it again anyway. So like for example, when I played Dark Souls 3 the first time, like I missed entire areas of the game. Like I never found some areas in my first playthrough because um, I didn't know they existed or I didn't know how to get there or whatever. And they're like optional areas, obviously, but you know that's just like how it happens when you play a game without like looking at for tips or anything. But like right now I'm playing Persona 5 and I'm not using any guides, so like obviously I'm gonna have like problems. Like I'm not. There's no way I'm going to get a full kind of what's it called social links on my first playthrough. It's not going to happen unless I get really lucky for some reason. But like I've never done it in any Persona game that has social links. I've never gotten them all in a first playthrough because I never use a guide. It's more fun to not use a guide, but I do use guides sometimes. Like if I've played a game for a while and then I put it down, I sometimes just forget what the hell I'm doing, and you have no way to check. Then I'll look at a guide, just like where the hell am I? Figure out what I have to do next, and then I'm gone. Um, and some games like I used to care about like achievements and trophies, and then in those cases, like when I'm just like, okay, I gotta get this achievement. I don't know how to get it. Guess I'll look at a guide. I don't care about that stuff anymore. I don't do it anymore. I don't even look at the trophies anymore. Um, it's the kind of thing, like, and this is a matter of like I used to my main system used to be the Xbox 360 last gen, and now I'm like using the PS4 only, and it means like, when I cared about it, I was mostly doing achievements, and now like, it's like it's like if your achievement score got erased, you don't give a fuck. You're just like, oh well, I can't build all that shit back up. So like now I'm on the PS4, and like I have my accounts on the PS4 are a mess. I've got like multiple accounts that I use for different stores, and like I've played a bunch on both. So like my total trophies is like not cumulative. It's like split between two accounts, and then I have it's like the kind of thing where it's like, who cares? Like you can't compare it with anybody. Like I have to switch between accounts to compare games with people. Um, so it's the kind of thing where I just stopped caring about it, so I don't use guides that much anymore. Um, I find like the more I feel like using guide, the less I like the game for the most part. Um, or it's like a second playthrough, and I just want to go back and catch the things that I missed. So, like, with Dark Souls 3, like I played through it 3 or 4 times, and after the first playthrough, I used the guide just to get things that I missed. Um, but some games I just go through and I'm happy with what I get. So even if I like don't get the best ending or whatever, I feel like, oh well, I don't need a guide. I don't need to play this again either. So I'm fine. If there's a different ending, I can just look it up somewhere. For some games, like if they're not as good, then I'm not going to replay them. So I don't know. I think I'm off topic, but what generally for guides, like I try not to use them. Well, I mean, I'll definitely not use them for like first playthroughs of games that I'm really a fan of. But if it's just something that's kind of like middling and I'm just going through it just to finish, maybe I'll use a guide just to like check. Sometimes I use guides to check progress, not like so much as a hint, but just to be like, oh, how much of this game is left? I'll look at a guide to see where I'm up to, and then like check how much is left. That's it's weird because like I'm not. It's really rare that I'll look at a guide from like start to finish for a game. Just like almost never happens. It seems like it's not fun that way. It's just like following an instruction manual at that point. Um, so let's see. Next we've got One Up Super back with some more questions. He's asking, "What are your favorite shmups?" I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite shooter. Um, I don't play a lot of shooters. It's not that I don't like them. It's that um, I'm I don't usually have like an urge to play a lot of shooters. So like I don't even have that many. And like a lot of the systems I really like are really super famous for shooters. Like two of my favorite systems are the PC Engine and the Sega Saturn. And like I have almost no shooters for those. Like I had more before, but I actually sold them because just like I never play them. My favorite shooter series though is R-Type, and I have R-Type 1 on basically everything. Like if I have a system and R-Type is on it, I buy R-Type. I've played R-Type a million times. I've got it on my phone. It's that kind of like thing. I just love R-Type for some reason. It's not. I guess it's a shooter. It's not like a bullet hell shooter, but I like some bullet hell shooters too. Like I don't mind like what a Death Smiles was good. Ketsi I've played. That was good. Um, Mushihime-sama. All those cave games are pretty good. Haven't played all of them though, so maybe I shouldn't say that. Let's see. I used to really like Gradius. Like I have Gradius 3 on the Super Famicom, but I still need to get R-Type Final. It's just really hard to find here. I don't know what it is, but it's like it's not even that expensive. It's like $30 or something, but it's just I can't find it. So it's the kind of thing where, you know, eventually I'll play R-Type Final. I hear a lot of people don't like it, but it's got like a million ships, and I think that's kind of awesome. And I also need R-Type Tactics 2, like it's called Operation Bitter Chocolate. I really want that game, but I think it's one of those games that I'm never gonna get. Not only have I never seen it, but it's like $200. I'm not. I feel like I I shouldn't. I should just pirate it at this point because like there's no way like I'm gonna pay $200 and like even then I've never seen a copy anywhere. Never seen one in like the game shops that sell rare games. I've never seen a copy of that of R-Type Tactics 2. Well, R-Type Command it's called, I guess in English. It's something different in Japanese. But whatever. Let's see. Next question is what? Wait. What are your thoughts on Japanese censorship laws regarding adult content? As an outsider looking in, it seems strange, but as I understand it, it was a product of Western influence. Um, I don't really know. Like, I'm not even sure what the rules are regarding like um, adult content and like what is considered adult content because I know it's different between the US and Japan and it's like seems really strict. You'd think like it seems really strict in Japan, but generally when Japanese games go to the West, it's like adult content, like sexual content that gets edited out. Whereas like in reverse, like American games that come to Japan usually have like violent content edited out. It's really strange. But then again, like um, like there's like some kind of rule about genitalia can't be shown at all. I guess I think that's the rule. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is actually. But I don't know the actual rule of it. So like maybe there are situations where it's okay, but I have no idea. Um, so I mean I just don't know a lot about the censorship laws except like the basic stuff. But like I don't know because there are a lot of cases where like sexual content gets edited out from U.S. versions of Japanese games, where it's just like fine in Japan, where people don't care. Um, Beyond like the whole no genital showing, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of it does seem a little strange, but like because it's not like sexual situations are not okay. So who knows? It is a little strange, but like in some ways it's less strict than US is, and in other ways it's not. So it's kind I don't know, kind of evens out for me, I guess. I mean, I don't really pay a lot of attention to that kind of stuff. What's your favorite nostalgic but now unavailable candy or junk food? Hmm, that's hard. You know, like I really really like um, Cadbury cream eggs and Cadbury mini eggs. But you can't get those in Japan. Like not every year, but my mother usually sends me those when they come out in the U.S. And I'm usually really excited for that because I can't get those. Otherwise, I can't get those. Things like Reese's peanut butter cups, like they're really common for people, but I can't really find those in Japan. So I like those kinds of things. I think everybody knows though that like I love Drake's coffee cakes. I really love those things. They're so good, and not the Hostess ones. Don't get the Hostess ones; those are bad. Um, it has to be Drake's, and it has to be their coffee cakes. Well, Devil Dogs are good too. I mean, let's be honest here. But know what I also like? Those Little Debbie oatmeal pies. Those things are good. And but like these are all things that are really common. They just can't get them in Japan. So like when I was in the U.S., I was like buying all types of crap like that all the time. Like you'd go to a gas station or something, and you'd be like, "Ooh, Little Debbie pies! I gotta buy those." And then I'd walk out with like pecan twirls and stuff like nobody eats anymore, but I have like a nostalgic feeling for them. So I bought a ton of stuff like that. I bought like gigantic peanut butter cups and things like that. Um, I don't know what to. I guess like maybe that's not what you mean. Maybe you mean Japanese food. I don't know though. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I can think of a million things from the U.S. that are still extant but not, available to me. So let's see. Let's see. The last question here is: what was the last band or album you really enjoyed? Hmm. Hmm. The latest. I want to say latest band that I really enjoyed. I haven't listened to any new music in a long time. Um, I don't know, man. That's hard. I was, know what? I was really excited to hear that at the drive-in made some new stuff, and there's a new band that they made. Like the at the drive-in dudes made a new band together that I can't remember the name of, but I'm interested to hear that album. But like I haven't heard it, so I can't really say. Um, I also really like this a band called the Murder City Devils, who put out a like broke up a long time ago, but they like got back together a couple years ago and made another album, and that's a pretty good album. Um, but it's hard to think of. I haven't listened to a lot of recent music. I just like I just don't listen to a lot of new music anymore, and it seems weird because like I used to buy records all the time. Um, like just go to the store and like be like, oh, I've heard the name of this band once. I'm gonna buy their CD or their record and check it out. And I often spend like hundreds of dollars at the record store just picking up stuff from bands I'd never heard before. So like I have like a huge CD collection and a huge record collection, but it's all back in the U.S. And after I moved to Japan, um, without the collection there, it feels like I shouldn't restart that shit because like I don't have space and I don't know what I'm gonna do with that stuff. And like now I can just get it all digitally. So it's the kind of thing where, unlike video games, like I don't care about the music so much anymore. Um, Having it like physically anyway. Um, but yeah, that's a hard question. I just can't think of anything. Let's see. Next, we've got Segata Sankaro is asking me. Oh wait, this isn't a question. It's just a statement, but it's something I'll address. It's something. It's not a question, but it's an addressable statement. He says, I think this format suits you well. Why not continue doing it as a weekly hour long single host podcast where you discuss random light topics? You know what? I might do that. It's not that bad of a thing. Like, I don't mind doing this. It doesn't really matter. Like, if I make a little graphic border or something for the thing, just like insert the video in there, maybe like put up some graphics. It'll look like a legit podcast thing that people do. That wouldn't really be that hard. I mean, it would involve a little bit of editing, but like a stupid small amount of editing that I could probably handle. So maybe I will. Um, Although I rarely have topics that I want to talk about. So that's the kind of thing where like generally like I have games I want to talk about, but like I guess like it would kind of be a little boring if it were just about games because like it would just be like the same kind of thing every week where I'm just like, well, I'm still hyped for, you know, Neo Atlas 1469 coming in October. But it's that kind of thing where just like I'd run out of stuff to talk about. And I mean, if it was just random topics, I'd have a lot of stuff. But like I don't know who would be interested in that. Let's see. Next, we've got RPG Fantast, who I am glad to see on here. Let's see. There's a bunch of questions. Maybe this might be the last person asking questions because there's a big chunk here. Um, Question 1. Why do you think you like the things you like? Um, that's that's a weird question. That's a really general question. Why do I like the things I like? I don't. I mean, there's a lot of things. It would be hard. Like usually, generally, they all have a specific reason, though. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, I can like, why do I like the kind of games I like? For example, is like hard to say, but I think a lot of it has to do with just like the first types of games that I played were these types of games, and it just kind of built up from there. Um, but I also like things that are kind of challenging to your mind, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't want to play a game, like this is why I don't buy Dynasty Warriors games like every time, is because like they're mindless. There's not a lot to think about in those games. It's just kind of like you could like be on autopilot and run through those games, and it doesn't get that difficult. I mean, it's not to say that there's not challenging parts, but like for the majority of the game, it's just like running to points and slaughtering 100 dudes and then coming back to another point before other dudes show up. It's it's like the majority of the game is like that, so it's kind of mindless. But like, if you give me a game like you give me like a Wizardry or something, like a Etrian Odyssey 5 is a game I recently played, like something like that, you have to actually think about it. And a lot of times you can't like go into a battle and just like auto battle. It's hard to do that. I mean, for later in the game, obviously, if you're like on the first level and you're like level 40 or something, you can just auto battle. But like, if you're on the level you're supposed to be on, you have to take every battle seriously. And I mean, not this isn't much of a spoiler, but Persona 5, which I'm playing now, is kind of like that. Whereas like if you went into a battle and you hit auto battle, you're probably gonna die in almost every battle, unless you're like way overpowered for the area you're in. Like by overpowered, I mean you're like 10 levels above what you're fighting, because it's like really um, it's a little bit on the brutal side if you're not paying attention, and I think I prefer that. It's the kind of and like it's the same thing. I like strategy games and simulation games. It's the kind of thing that you really have to think about a lot of stuff to get good at it, and also get things moving in a way that's good. So I just like that kind of thing. It's kind of like a mind workout, I think, for the games I like, at least. For other stuff, I don't know. I mean we could be here all day explaining things, but I'll just take it as a games question. But question 2, I know you enjoyed the first season of Mr. Robot, but are you interested in watching the second season in the newly announced third one? You know, I sort of liked the first season of Mr. Robot. When I first started watching Mr. Robot, I thought this show is good, and I watched the entire first season. But you know, there's like a point where it's a really good show and it's interesting and it's cool, and then like at the end of the first season, it basically turns into a Fight Club ripoff, like really a Fight Club ripoff, and I felt like, wow, that was dumb. And like towards the end of the season, I thought like this took a turn for the shit. Like it just went south. And I watched all of the first season, and I know the second season is out, but I haven't even watched it. I haven't like felt the need to watch any more of it, and I don't know that I will. I might eventually like be like, oh yeah, I guess there's Mr. Robot. I can watch it, but man, after the first season started to suck so bad towards the end, I'm just like, man, I don't know that I want to watch the second season. I don't know who is watching the second season if they watched the entirety of the first season and like thought, man, that was a good ending, because it's basically the like a 100% ripoff of Fight Club, minus the fighting. I mean, um, So not so excited for the third season because I'm probably not going to watch this second season. Let's see. Are there any other shows you're interested in watching but haven't gotten around to yet for some reason? Um, not not real. I guess I want to watch. I guess I'll eventually want to watch Stranger Things because everybody's like nuts about that show. Um, but I don't have a way to watch it. So like I have Amazon Prime. It's not on there. Obviously it's not on there. It's a Netflix show. Um, but Netflix Japan is different from Netflix US. So I don't have that, and I probably won't. So eventually, I guess I could probably watch it on some kind of like shady streaming site, which I probably will eventually. But yeah, that one, I really want to watch the Ash versus the Evil Dead show that was on Showtime, because I like Evil Dead and I like Bruce Campbell. So I'd be interested in that. But that'll probably just buy the Blu-ray for and watch it. It's the kind of thing like, I'd probably like to have it just for the collection sake. Um, I'm excited. I mean, I watched the first season of Preacher, and I'm interested in seeing a second season of Preacher. Um, that was pretty good. Other than that, I can't think of anything though. Um, this is a good question. Where do you get your inspiration from, and what your hair will look like when you cut it? Um, this is absolutely true. I When I decide what my hair is going to be like, I draw pictures until I find one that I think looks all right. It doesn't always work out. Like this time, I'm not so excited about this haircut. I'm going to change it next time. Um, and mostly because like the way it is now, it didn't work with my hair. It works in the drawing, but it doesn't work with my hair because like it there when it gets humid, like it is fucking all summer in Japan, my hair gets curly. So it looks like I have these like weird curls, and sometimes it'll like curl straight out. It's like not working here. So like, and I can't do anything with it the way it is. So like, I have to figure out something. It's the longest it's ever been right now though. It's like pretty long. I mean, you can't really tell because it's all to the side, but like my hair is like here's my the old devil lock, but it's like down past my chin. So if I want to be a member of the Misfits, I can do this. But generally, I'm gonna probably just gonna cut it short and like let it grow out and do something different with it next time. Um, because I don't know what to do with it at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I usually just draw pictures until I find something that looks all right to me. So let's see. Let's see. Question five. Do you think you will get disappointed with Persona 5, as in your expectations are maybe too high regarding the game? See, I talked about this in the last video, but man, there's no way I was gonna be disappointed with Persona 5 because I had not watched anything for it, and I didn't read any information about the game. Kept I kept myself spoiler free for Persona 5, and I went into it not knowing what anything was going to look like, not knowing any of the characters, not knowing anything about it. And I'm really glad I did that because like I'm playing it now and it's fucking awesome. So like it's so great. Like there's so much stuff in it that I don't want to give any spoilers, but like there's so much stuff in the game that I wish I could talk to people about because like already there's all these little things that are amazing. And like I just want to like talk about all these things that are just like these subtle things in the game that they really thought about when they obviously really thought about when they put it in there. And I think like it works so well on so many different levels that like um had I been like keeping track of all this stuff, I probably would have noticed this stuff earlier, and it would have made this game less exciting to play. And like I feel that everybody should do that from now on. Stop watching trailers. Stop reading news sites about games you're excited for. When you have a game that you know you're excited for and you're going to buy, just pre-order that shit and never look at anything again. That's my advice, because it's working out so good with Persona 5 right now. Because had I been watching trailers and stuff, had I been looking at like the character introductions and stuff like that, I would never have found had like the same kind of sense of like discovery that I have now, where I'm just like wandering around like, ha, there's like this parody of the Catherine cover in this doctor's office. Like, I'm really excited for stuff like that now, and I probably would have noticed it in a video, and it would have ruined it. It would have been less exciting. And it's just I I I can tell you I'm not disappointed with Persona 5. Um, it's probably it might be the best Persona. Um, it's better than it's probably better than 3 or 4 so far. I haven't finished it yet though, so I don't really know. But it's it's really good. Um, let's see, where am I in this? Fuck. What is the average temperature in Japan during the Japanese winter? It's not, well, I mean, depends where you are, I guess. If you're in like um, Hokkaido, it's cold. But in Tokyo, it's like rarely gets below freezing, so zero. It's rarely gets below 0 Celsius, obviously. Um, so like generally, it hovers around like, I don't know, 5 to 15 degrees or so. I'd say that's like a estimation, but it sometimes gets a little colder. It'll usually snow like once or twice a year. Tokyo is really mild for winter. That might not sound mild to some people, but for me, like I'm from the Northeast, it's blizzard blizzard area up there. It's you're looking at like um, -20, -30 in some cases. Like it gets cold. In Japan, it does not get cold like that ever. So um, Japanese winter to me is really mild and a lot better than freeze my ass off like I was in the U.S. Oh, here's an interesting question. Any horror games you would like to be made that haven't been made yet? Um, you know, there are a lot of games that I would like based on horror that I'd like to see that aren't made. Would be there are there are some Nightbreed games, and they're awful. But I'd like to see a really cool Nightbreed game that's not based on the movie, but based on the kind of afterwards of the movie, where like Midian is destroyed and you have to like find the pieces of Baphomet to rebuild a sanctuary for the Nightbreed. That would be a cool thing because it would be a continuation of the story. You wouldn't have to like use a bunch of the characters, and you could make all types of new stuff, bring yourself all over to new places, new areas, give new Nightbreed a try. You could do like all types of cool stuff with that. And the world for that game is so cool. I mean, that story is so cool. That would be awesome. I think nobody would buy that except me. That's like a game that would never get made. But it's it's that kind of thing. Like, um, you know, let me think. There I would say like a really good Lovecraft game, but there appears to be a bunch coming out really soon that I think are going to be good. So I was really hoping that they would have made that At the Mountains of Madness game that like the Dark Corners of the Earth people were supposed to make, but it never got made. That would have been cool. I'm trying to think what else would be interesting as a game. Hmm. It would be it would be cool if you could do it right, like a something like a Children of the Corn game. I don't know how you could do that as a game. Like it would not pass some kind of testing because you'd obviously be beating the hell out of children. Um, yeah, that one's probably a bad idea, but it would be awesome to see someone try it. Um, that kind of thing would be cool. I don't know. It seems like Stephen King would be all right for some type of games. It would be even cooler, something like a creep show kind of game where it's like a bunch of different stories, but like you know, I mean, you could do it like a Telltale game even, but like have a bunch of different stories. You know, it's like if you've seen Creepshow, there's like a bunch of different stories, and there's kind of like a like a frame story. If there was a game like that, it would be awesome. I would play that. And it would be cool because like you could actually do it episodically and have it make sense because like it's episodes that aren't connected. They're totally different things. I think that would be cool. And like the only connecting thing between the episodes would be the frame story that like ties everything together. I think that would be a really interesting kind of game to make. Twilight Zone kind of game like that. Think about that. That would be kind of awesome. Um, I don't really know. I can't think of anything else though. So we'll move on to the next question. Okay, next question 8 here is mention an old game on the PS1 you haven't played but you would like to. Um, you know, there's a game on the PS1 that I've been looking for, just haven't seen yet. I'm gonna look at my list because I'm not sure if I'll get the name right if I just say it off the top of my head. So, where is my PS1 section? Okay, it's that was right. It's Suzuki Bakuhatsu, which is like a puzzle game. It's like a it's it's like a FMV puzzle game actually, but I'm really interested in that game. It looks kind of awesome. For me, it looks awesome because I like puzzle games, but it looks like really weird and quirky and just kind of like, and also FMV, which I enjoy. So that is one game on the PS1. Like I have a couple of games here on my PS1 list that I um, haven't played, but my PS1 list is really short right now because like I have mostly bought all the stuff I was looking for. So unless I find new stuff that I haven't bought yet, there's not a lot of things. But that game specifically is something I was looking for. Um, so let's see. Question 9 here. Any place you would love to go to except that place in Switzerland? Um, the Switzerland place was the H.R. Giger Museum. But, I've always wanted to go to Iceland for some reason. I don't really have anything I want to see there or do there. I just thought like it would be cool to go there for some reason. Um, you just like hang out in Reykjavik for a couple days. It's really far though. Like that's like the only thing that's stopping me at this point. But it would be cool to go there. I'd like to check out Europe at some point, but I just like have nothing I'm super interested in Europe that I want to see. Um, it's tough. I'm not like much of a traveler, I guess. Like I don't really care about traveling a lot. I don't need to go on vacation. I kind of hate going on vacation because like you can't do anything in depth. You know what I mean? Like you can't like go for a week's vacation to Europe and like even 2 weeks and like go to 3 countries and like feel like you've got scratched anything but like the very very surface of that. And I feel like I'd have to have a lot more time to make it worthwhile. So it ends up where I'm just like kind of, I don't really want to go anywhere, which is probably bad, but that's kind of how it is. Let's see. How do you feel about Sega remaking Yakuza 2 like they did with Yakuza 1 as Yakuza Kiwami? I'd be cool with that. They probably will. In all honesty, they probably will remake Yakuza 2 in that same way because why wouldn't they? If they already have the engine and the setup, like there's not even that much stuff they'd have to do to make 2 from the remake of 1. If only because like a bunch of the characters are the same and they could use the same map. They could like already use the same city setup. It's like almost the same. So it wouldn't be that bad. Probably wouldn't be that hard either, and it would probably sell a bunch. So I bet you they'll do it. Let's see. Any games you can recommend on the PS3 that you've never talked about on your channel? Probably. Um, I'd have to look though. Let's see. That I never talked about that I liked. Man, I can't see my PS3 stuff. It's like it's kind of split between two areas, and one is inside the shelf, and I can't see those. Um, let's think of some stuff though that I haven't talked about, that I haven't like done a review or like an impressions video on. There's probably not that much. That's probably not true. It's probably just not exciting, I think. So I haven't done any. I haven't talked about that much. Um, you know, I would say like there's like games that are stupid. They're not stupid so much as like they're just games that I like wouldn't want to talk about, to tell people about, because they're not like super interesting, and I think like they're not super interesting to other people, but they are to me. Um, and recently, Crack Lotus brought this up in a video where he got it after like, and he got me my copy too. Like we traded some stuff, and I got that from him, and it's what the fuck is it? Shit, man, can't read it. Ah, there it is. Tornado Outbreak. That game, it's like a Katamari Damacy game, except with tornadoes and like a different kind of character. Um, I the Katamari games also I've never talked about, but I love those games. I can play those anytime. And Tornado Outbreak is a similar game, and it's cheap, so I'd recommend that if you haven't played it. I'm gonna take a drink here because I've been talking for like 45 minutes. But yeah, I'll go with that because it's simple and it's something that I just saw. So let's see. This isn't the last one here. Isn't a question. He says, "I'd love to hang out with you when I go to Tokyo in the future." That's not a question, but it's kind of a question. Sure, dude. Hit me up. Hit me up on Facebook or whatever. Um, yeah, if generally if you're like not a psycho killer, and I know you're not because we're friends on Facebook, but if in general for other people listening, if you come to Japan and you think like you want to hang out with me for some reason, I don't know why you would, but if you really wanted to, like, sure, I'm not usually doing anything. Um, that's cool. Just hit me up on the old Facebooks, and we'll hang out. I'm cool with that. Like, it's hard. Sometimes I'm like fucking flat broke and I can't go out. But other times, like, I'm fine. Like, I'm usually not doing anything. The only reason that I wouldn't go out is because I'm lazy. But generally, yeah. So let's see. Um, let's see. Next, see, he wasn't the last person. I got through those pretty quickly. So next we've got Golden Joe Blow here is back asking some legit questions this time apparently. Let's see. Are there any video games you go back to and replay frequently? However you define frequently. Um, you know what? One of those games is Catherine. I recently played that again. Like, I recently played through the entirety of Catherine. Um, and that was like last week. I played through Catherine. I played Catherine like 15 times. Like, I can't stop playing that game, and I always go back to it and just play it for like, even if I don't play the story, just do like the stuff you unlock later on, like the challenge dungeons. Um, I like playing that game. It's just a good game. It's just a kind of fun kind of. I really hope they make another game like that. It doesn't have to have the same characters. Just give me new characters. Give me a new setting. Give me a new setup. Just give me the same kind of gameplay and the same kind of tone, and I'll be super happy. I would be really happy with another one of those. Um, Such a good game that series. That it's not a series. It's just a single game. But that game is one of those games that I just always go back to. Dark Souls is another one of those games that I go back to a bunch. Like, again, like, played Dark Souls like 30 or 40 times. I don't know. It's the kind of thing where it's like a comfort food. You just kind of go back to it because like you kind of know it so well that you can go through it. Shadowrun on the Super Nintendo is another one of those games that I've played a million times, and it's not that long. Another thing with all of these games is none of them are really that long. They're like two sittings kind of games. Um, so yeah, I mean it's like a couple hours in one day, and the next day you're a couple hours more, and you're done. That's it's like the easiest kind of games to go back to. Demon Souls also would fit in there, I guess. Um, I guess Yakuza fits in there too, but I haven't gone back to play like the longer ones. But I played one and two a bunch of times. Um, so I guess that's kind of it. There I guess R Type, which I mentioned earlier, I've played a million times, and I go back to that every once in a while, play it again. Hmm. It's hard to. There's a lot of games that I would go back and play more. Like I want to go back and play Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 again, but that's like a fucking time investment, man. Like I really liked those games, but at the same time I feel like, do I want to put like 100 hours into this again? That's the kind of thing where like, you feel like it was awesome, but man, that's a lot of time that I could be doing other stuff in. So I tend to go back to shorter games, and that seems like, you know, weird because I play like a lot of my favorite games are really long games. But what can you do? So let's see. He asked me, "What do you consider breaking edge?" Remember from the previous question from somewhere else that you're saying caffeine falls under that umbrella. Um, so let's see. But I don't know. Like I don't know that caffeine really does. I think like it it's not real. I don't think that caffeine really does. I don't drink caffeine, but it's not because of being straight edge. It's because like I just don't drink anything that has caffeine. But like I eat chocolate, and I guess it's just in there naturally. So like, what can you do? Um, and I don't consider that like. I mean, I'm like a pretty standard straight edge dude. So like drugs and alcohol, like things that you can abuse, I guess. That kind of stuff, like I don't. It would be like drinking a beer would be off the table, I think. But like, um, like taking medicine when you're sick, that I'm fine with that. Taking aspirin, I'm fine. You mentioned that. I'm fine with aspirin. I take aspirin if I have a headache. It's not like I don't like practice straight edge dogmatically. It's not like I'm over here with my straight edge and forced with automatic weapons t-shirt or something. I'm not like a hardline dude. I'm just, I'm not even a vegetarian, so like there's lots of people who wouldn't even consider me straight edge, but like I'm like kind of your classic straight edger, I guess. But that's kind of how it is, like I don't but just imagine like what do you consider drugs and what do you consider alcohol. That's it for me. So next, this will probably be the last one, I think, because we're almost out of time. But let's see. Phenomenal Flea asked some questions. I don't know how many. There's a lot. Um, okay, the first question here is: I was wondering how people generally react when they come over to your house for the first time and see all your games. Um, I don't know. Nobody has ever freaked out, been like, "Oh my God, you have so much stuff." It's generally like they don't look at it. They realize it's a lot of stuff, but they don't realize that it's games a lot of the time because, like this area up here is DVDs, and like the stuff below, it's just connected. So they just kind of like see the stuff that's high and it's all DVDs. Most people just assume that all the other stuff is DVDs. So like and they're also double roads, so that the full extent of how much stuff is actually there is kind of lost on a lot of people because they don't realize that there's a whole nother row behind of so it's actually like double what is actually there. Um, so I think a lot of people don't notice it. Like even these shelves on this side, they're like a sliding shelf, so like behind it there's a whole second row of stuff. And people don't see that stuff, so they just think like, oh, there's a lot of stuff, but like they don't think it's excessive because it looks like other media. You know, it looks like, you know, over here is like all my PlayStation and Saturn and PC Engine and stuff. It looks like CDs, and there's also like a little section of CDs. So people just, I think, fill in the blanks there. They don't. Told people like, oh yeah, these are all games, and they're like, really? I thought it was just like movies and stuff. So most people don't even really notice that much. Um, but even when they do, it's never been a big deal. No one's been like, oh my god, you've got too much stuff. Nobody said it anyway, at least. So it's been fine. Um, let's see. Next question is, where do you tend to buy your games? Um, like, okay, for new games, like 90% of them I buy from via Amazon. For some, otherwise, if I get a used game, like a new current gen or last gen used game, I usually get it at like a book off or something. But for everything else, for retro games, like I just get everything online now. Previously, used to actually go to stores in Akihabara and buy stuff and you know, look around shops. But over the past like 2 years or year or two, the prices have been like normalized for eBay prices, thanks to eBay sellers. Now everything in Japan is basically the same price as it is on eBay. So it's not worth buying for me anymore. It's not worth going out to a shop because they reference eBay for their prices. So when previously they didn't. So like, you know, when everyone would be like, oh yeah, you can come to Japan and get really good prices on retro games. Not anymore because resellers ruined it. So the prices have gone way up in Japan for retro stuff. So now I don't even bother going out to look. I just buy if there's something I want, I just buy it from a shop online. Um, and that's just how it is because like even if I go to the store, I'm not going to find a cheaper copy. It just never happens anymore. So I just like, all right, I guess I'll just buy everything online now. And that's what I do. So unless you get like super lucky in like a kind of recycle shop that doesn't know what they have. And I've done that before. It's happened. But like, you know, it's so rare. Now it's especially. So, you know, what can you do? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Next, these are sentences. These questions are in paragraphs, like part of a paragraph, so it's hard to pick them out on the fly. I have to read through everything else. Let's see. Next question is: I'm struggling with the effort to get through all of the Joyo kanji. Um, do you have any advice for somebody who's really only half literate but still wanting to play games in Japanese? Dude, if you know 1,000 kanji, you can play games already. The the ton of 2,000 daily use kanji that you know are not 2,000 daily use kanji. It's like the 2,000 for the test. Those ones generally are. There's like a bunch of stuff in there that's only in there because like it's in the Constitution and nobody uses it. Like I remember when I was learning all of those like the 2,000 kanji you have to know that like I'd use them sometimes like in email and shit, and people would be like, I can't even read that. I don't know what that is. So like you get frustrated because like you spend all this time like learning this shit, and then like Japanese people don't understand it. They're just like, I don't know how to read that. Like, and nobody writes that anymore. Everyone just like uses the hiragana only, or like uses a katakana there or something. It's the kind of thing where like nobody can read stuff anymore. So it's also could be that some of the people I were talking to were really dumb. That could happen. It's true. Um, you know, and it's you know, there's a difference between like obviously like the amount of kanji you know and like how much schooling you've had. So like, you know, when I'm hanging out with like, you know, kind of people who didn't go to college, kind of grimy punk rock dudes, like they're awful. Like not because they're bad people. I mean, it's because like they're often not understanding a lot of the stuff. I mean, their emails are usually really easy to read though, and their speaking is really easy to understand too. It's so it's fun to hang out with them because like their conversations are really followable. But like you hang out with somebody who's really smart and you just like they'll fuck you up with the stuff they write you. Um, and you know, like, but 1,000, like you can easily play games because the games aren't like men usually aren't written in a way that is like super difficult. If you know 1,000, like you could basically get through like most games and just like having to look up one or two words every couple of every you know like couple of sentences or something like that doesn't take any time at all. Like, and lots of times you can just figure out stuff without knowing the word just by the context. So it's the kind of thing where, you know, even I still have to sometimes look up words that I come across in when I'm playing games where just like, you know, you're in there and you understand like 95% of it, and then like some fucking word comes up and you're just like, what the fuck is that? um and you look it up and it'll be something like you never use in English either. It's that kind of thing where like, you know, just like stuff like that happens all the time. So like you're never gonna get to a point where you can get through everything 100% without with knowing every single word. I mean, like I've been in Japan for more than 10 years, and you know, I've studied Japanese since then, and you know, it still happens to me all the time. So, you know, you're probably good to just try anyway right now. Um, and your best bet really is to like just play stuff where they speak the text at you. Play fully voiced games. Like you could, it's so much better to do that because like, you know, studying to read is never gonna help you. I mean, it'll help you obviously to read, but like, um, you know, when I was in my Japanese class, you know, it's full to halfway through when you got to the advanced, like the kind of middle level, we had like all these people, kids show up from China, and not kids, but like kids to me because they're like 19 or 20, showed up from China, and they like had all really good test scores. Like they showed up into the, you know, like they started at the school in the middle class, where like the people who were in it normally started from the bottom and worked their way up, and they showed up and they into the middle, they tested into the middle, so they had good skills. But like when they got there, they couldn't fucking understand shit because like they couldn't understand anything the teacher said because they had only been reading. They hadn't been listening. So like their listening skills were garbage and their speaking skills were awful. And you know, it was, they do all right on the test, but like in anything that involved like hearing what the teacher wanted to talk about, they couldn't answer any questions in class. They couldn't talk to anybody really well, and it took them a, a bit longer because like, you know, they just hadn't been studying that way. So like their listening and speaking ended up being bad, comparatively to the other people who had been there since the beginning doing the classes entirely in Japanese. So I don't know. That's kind of it. I think I answered. There's a second part of this question, but I just answered it by accident. So yeah, just jump into anything. Doesn't really matter. It could be something hard, but you're not gonna. You don't want to jump into something like really hard. You'll get frustrated. Just play some Super Nintendo games. Play some PlayStation One games. They're usually not that hard. They're usually pretty easy for the most part. Um, and the last question here. I'm already over an hour by a bit, but you know, we might as well finish the last question. How do you keep track of all the games you have? Do you keep a list? I do not keep a list. Keep track of the games I have because I play the games I have. If that makes any sense. Like generally, if I buy a game, I'll play it, and if I play a game, I remember playing it. So I've never gone to a store and bought a game that I already have by accident. I bought games that I already have on purpose, but but that's a different story. Um, I remember all the games that I've played. If you named name of a game, I'd be able to tell you if I played it or not. And like, you know, that sounds stupid. Like you think anybody can do that, but when you have like thousands of games, it's hard to sometimes hard to do that. But I can do that because I generally remember. I don't buy games usually in huge lots. I don't buy like 50 games at a time and then forget which ones I bought. Or I don't buy like even like I don't buy 10 things at a time and like forget which ones I played. Usually I buy one or two games at a time and then I just go home and play them. And then once I've done that, if I have something else I want to do, I'll buy more games. I don't generally buy stuff that so like sometimes like generally I'll buy like there are times when I bought like up to about 10 games at a time, but um, even then, I'd sit down and play all those games as I during the time I got them, like during like the first week or two, or at least get an hour or two into each of those games just to like say I've played it, and then and then like it's in my memory then if I how much I played and if I want to play it more or whatever. So that's how I keep track of my games. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you each game that's back there, but if you named it, I'd be able to tell you if it was there or not. Um, at the same time, like I don't have a list, so like I wouldn't be able to list off my entire collection. So maybe I should, but I feel like I don't care enough. It's not like a collection to me in the way that like I need to keep a list of it. I just need to know if I have it or not. I don't need to know where it is. I just need to know if I've played it or if I haven't played it, because that's the only thing that matters to me. If I've got enough to play it or not, and I don't want to buy a game that I already have and haven't played. So generally, I'll remember. That's it. It's all in my head. So that's it for this part 16. If you got more, there's a lot more questions anyway. Maybe the next one will be the last one if there's not a lot more questions. Maybe not, though, because there's still a lot of questions left. So, yeah, I will catch you guys in the next part. So part 17 is next. See you guys next time.